everyone, it's Sarah and today I am back with part 2 of my spring video, or fragrances that I'm excited to wear this spring. Yeah, I've got 15 more here, so I'm gonna jump right in. These are all fragrances that I can't wait to give some love to. In fact, this first one, I just talked about this in a video not too long ago, and I couldn't wait to get it out in the warmer weather and start wearing it. That is Kim Kardashian Pure Honey. Gosh, this bottle is so... Oh my gosh. This is so beautiful. It's like white flowers and honey. It reminds me of something from the 90s. I cannot put my finger on it. I can't figure out what it is, but it's something. It reminds me of something from like my teenage years or my preteen teenage years, somewhere in there. It's so beautiful. Maybe even my childhood. It might even remind me of something from the 80s, like even way earlier. It's just beautiful. I love it. If you like white flowers and honey, I think you would really like it. They're both done really well. The white flowers aren't too overpowering or sweet, and the honey isn't too, it's not like too much honey, if that makes any sense. It's not like one of those honey perfumes that I feel like, I don't know, some honey can go really, really weird on people. This is a really good performer for me too. It definitely isn't like Beast or anything, but I can easily get 6 hours or so out of this before I would feel like I would want to reapply. It lasts really, really well on clothing, and yeah, I just love it. It's just such a beautiful, underrated gem. But there are a lot of you out there that love this, and for a good reason. It's just so, so darned pretty. I haven't smelled a ton from Kim Kardashian. I'm like really, really interested. She just had a good sale on her website too, like $25 perfumes. But I don't know. I'm just so hesitant to pick them up because I'm just afraid that they're not going to be very good. I don't know. If you guys know of any other Kim Kardashian fragrances, or the KKW ones, I guess they are now. If you know of any others that are really, really good that I need to get, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, I would love to get some really good recommendations for other Kim Kardashian fragrances. So anyways, that is KK or Kim Kardashian Pure Honey. Such a beautiful, and that one is like so warm and rich. So it's like great in the heat, but it's also really cozy, which is what I'm always looking for, no matter like what season it is. Okay, this next one is one that I picked this up in the wintertime, and I'm really, really excited. And I wore it in the wintertime and it worked just fine, but I'm really excited to try this one in the heat. I think it's gonna be really gorgeous. This is Ralph Lauren Beyond Romance, and this is so gorgeous. This is straight up raspberry cream. That's all I smell, is this really beautiful, juicy, sweet, tart raspberry and yummy, like whipped cream, like unsweet whipped cream, if that makes any sense, because it's not overly sweet. It's got this beautiful sweet tartness to it from the raspberry, and the cream doesn't make it doesn't send it over the edge into being cloying. It's just beautiful. And this one lasted really well on me in the wintertime. I think it's hard for me to remember. I only wore it once and it's been some months ago. But I want to say I got at least 6 hours out of it. Like, I don't feel like I ever had to reapply this, but I will definitely update you guys in a what I wore last week video. I'll wear it in the heat and I'll update you on how this performs in the heat. But yeah, I'm so darned excited to get this one out and give it some love for this spring. So anyways, that is Ralph Lauren Beyond Romance. Such a beautiful raspberry fragrance. Let me know if you guys are interested in me doing like a berry fragrance video, because I do have quite a few fragrances that are berry based that are so beautiful. So anyways, there's that one. Next we have another Ralph Lauren fragrance, and This is one of my favorite spring fragrances, hands down. It's just so quintessentially spring. It is like the perfect floral in my opinion. I just love it so much. This is Ralph Lauren Blue. And this, I get asked every time I talk about this fragrance if this is the original formulation or the reformulation. I've heard people say that the reformulated version is really, really weak, like doesn't perform well at all. This performs really, really well on me. Yeah, I used to be able to wear this to work when I worked 10-hour days and was out of the house for 12 hours, and I would still smell like it when I got home. So I don't know, I need to look it up. There's a batch code on the bottom. I need to just look it up and see when my bottle's from. But either it just does really, really well on my skin, or it's an older bottle. I'll have to figure it out and let you know. I'll let you guys know in my next what I wore, or in the what I wore last week video after I wear this. I'll let you know. I'll be sure to look it up so I can tell you guys if it's an older or newer bottle. But this has a ton of notes in it. I mostly get the jasmine. To me, the jasmine is the most dominant floral, but there are tons of floral. That and the lily of the valley. I also get a lot of lily of the valley. Yeah, definitely like a jasmine lily of the valley combination. It's just so beautiful and so spring-like. But it does have a ton of notes in it. Lots and lots of florals. It's got jasmine and gardenia and lily of the valley and rose. I think it's got cyclamen in it. It's just got a ton of florals. It's also got it's got orange blossom. It's got lemon verbena. It's got basil. Just a ton of really beautiful fresh notes. It's not too sweet. It's very crisp smelling. It's very fresh, but it's like I don't know. It reminds you of like a sweet little tiny white floral. I mean, kind of like a lily of the valley. It's just beautiful. I love this fragrance. Gosh. I mean, this is like would be in my top 5 for spring ever. It's just so beautiful. So anyways, that is Ralph Lauren Blue. I need to quit gushing about every fragrance. Okay, this next one is one that I cannot wait. I've been waiting since these were sent to me when it was still kind of cold out. I think it was, yeah, it was definitely cold out. It was December, I think, when these were sent over to me, and I am so excited to try this one now that it is getting warm. This is from Untamed, and this is called Running with Wolves. And oh my gosh, this is beautiful. It's got sweet fruits in it. This one has a Sichuan pepper note in the top, which gives it, I don't know, it brings a warmth to it. It's got cherry and apple, or black cherry, I should say, and apple. It's got tuberose in the middle, but it's not like an overly powerful tuberose that takes over the entire fragrance, which can happen with tuberose often. It's got some almond and it also has a leather note, and I'm usually not a big fan of leather. It's leather or suede. I want to say it's leather. And yeah, I'm usually not a huge fan of leather in fragrance, but it's so soft in this fragrance. It's such a beautiful, delicate leather note that again just brings like a softness, a silkiness, without it smelling like the interior of a car, which is usually what I don't want to smell like chaps, so it definitely doesn't. And then it also has some very soft animalic notes in the base, which I know is a turnoff for a lot of people, but I wouldn't even classify this as an animalic fragrance. This is more of like a fruity floral, but it's a very interesting fruity floral. It's like nothing you've ever smelled before. Just the way that it is composed, I've never smelled anything like it. The black cherry note is incredibly prominent, very, very prominent. But it's softened by everything else. So it's not sickly. You don't get any kind of cough syrup, which can happen a lot, especially for me with cherry. A lot of times it just goes cough syrup on me. This is not like that at all. This is like a very fresh, natural, like realistic cherry. It's just beautiful. And then with the tuberose, oh my gosh, it's stunning. It is such a beautiful fragrance. I can't even tell you guys. If you haven't checked out Untamed yet, you definitely need to. I do believe she makes a discovery kit as well. Her fragrances are on another level. They are unique in a way that you rarely smell. So anyways, that is Untamed Running with Wolves. It is such a stunner of a fragrance, and I cannot wait to wear this now that it is warmer. It's gonna be amazing. Okay, this next one, somebody reminded me of this. I think he said he had been wearing this recently a lot, and it reminded me of the fact that I need to pull it because I love this fragrance. It's such a beautiful fragrance, and it's also incredibly underrated. This is Pansy from Lush. This is so good. It's fresh because it's got bergamot and an orange flower. I think it's orange flower absolute. It's got rosemary oil in it, but then in the base you've got galbanum and labdanum, and it's just beautiful. So it's this beautiful mix of kind of fresh, clean notes with slightly resinous notes, but the resinous notes are very light. So it just smells like this kind of light, slightly sweet, fresh, but also powdery and resinous. It's so hard to explain this one. This is one of my favorite Lush fragrances. I just feel like it is so beautiful and underrated. And I'm so glad that he mentioned it in the comments saying he had been wearing this a lot, because I was like, oh my gosh, I've forgotten about Pansy. I need to get it out and give it some love. I wait all year to wear this fragrance. Not that you would need to. This is one that could be worn literally any time of year. But for me, this one just screams spring, warm weather. Yeah, I just love it. Newness. It's amazing. So anyways, that is Lush Pansy. It is such a beautiful fragrance. This next one is one that this was sent over to me by a subscriber. And she sent me some of the most beautiful fragrances. And this is one that I keep forgetting to wear, and I've never worn it. So I've had it sitting out on my desk. I'm giving this some love for sure this week. It is happening because it needs it. It's such a stunning rose fragrance. And that is Kate Spade in Full Bloom. It's so funny because I'm testing for the first time today the Kate Spade Walk on Air Sunshine. And I'm just like in this cloud of nostalgia right now because it smells almost exactly, or from what I remember, it smells almost exactly like the original Pantene shampoo. And I'm like sitting here floating back to the 80s in my mind. I'm like going back to the original Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and The Lost Boys and all of these movies that I used to watch as a little kid that I loved. And that's where this perfume is taking me. It is so beautiful. I need a bottle of it. Like, I need a bottle of it. Okay, so back to Kate Spade in Full Bloom. This is beautiful. This is tons of rose. Couple different rose. I think it's like May rose, rose petals. It's got lemon, peony, some soft woods in the base, and I think this one has got peach in the base, which is really weird, but I don't smell the peach. I'm thinking the peach just brings maybe a hint of, the peach is what is giving it some of its sweetness, but without smelling like peach. But this is beautiful. This is a rose fragrance through and through, very fresh. It's also got some tea in it, I believe green tea. Very, very fresh, crisp, bright, delicate, feminine, pink rose. And it's funny because somebody asked me to do a video talking about fragrances that smell like a color to me. And this one would for sure be in that video because this smells very pink. This reminds me of pink roses and pink peonies. And it is so beautiful. I cannot wait to give this one some love finally because I don't know why I've neglected it. It's such a beautiful fragrance. So anyways, that is Kate Spade in Full Bloom. Such a beautiful, perfect spring fragrance. And then another rose that I've also been neglecting. I haven't worn this, I don't think, since last year. This is Salvatore Ferragamo Signorina, but this is the EDT formulation. I've smelled, except for the newest ones that have come out, I've smelled pretty much every formulation of this fragrance. This is my absolute favorite. This is a fresh rose too. Oh my gosh. Yes, this is a fresh rose fragrance too, with lots of citrus in the top. I think this one has lychee in it, so it's like another rose lychee combination. But this one is softened by a beautiful creamy note in the base. I think it's described, or the note in the breakdown is described as steamed rice or something, but it just gives it this beautiful creaminess. So it's kind of a typical fresh rose and lychee combination, but the creaminess in the base really gives it something different. It's something a little different than like your typical fresh rose lychee. It's also sweet, so it's like a sweet, fresh, creamy rose. It's beautiful, but it's very light and airy. I get tons of compliments on this every time I wear it. I've had people chase me down in the grocery store to ask me what I'm wearing, and I think this is the only fragrance where that's happened, where somebody chased me down in the grocery store to ask me what I was wearing. This is the only time that's ever happened, is when I've worn this one. So anyways, that is Signorina from Salvatore Ferragamo, the EDT formulation. It's such a beauty. Perfect for this time of year. Next is another berry fragrance. This is my favorite time of year to wear this fragrance, though I will wear this one any time of year. I do have 2 bottles of this thanks to a lovely subscriber who sent over this little half-ounce bottle. Is this a half-ounce? Yes, who sent over this little half-ounce bottle. I've got 2 bottles now, and I am over the moon because this is an old signature of mine, and I love it so much. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This is straight up fresh berries to me. It's got some other notes in it, but I believe it's got like blackberry, raspberry, blackcurrant, and it really does smell like slightly sweet, fresh berries. It's beautiful. This is one that has always been really, really great on my skin as well, and it lasts a really long time on me. So this one, this little half-ounce, I believe is the newest formulation, but I think my full-size bottle is the older formulation. So I'm gonna test them side by side and see if there's a big difference, because a lot of people have told me that the newest formulation is really, really lacking when it comes to performance. It could be possible that it just works really good on me. It's one of those fragrances that doesn't work for most people, but somehow works for me. But I do love this. And I remember back in the early 2000s, or early to mid 2000, mid. Well, it was like, I don't know, somewhere in between 2003 and 2006, I think that I wore this. Yeah, for sure. It was somewhere in that time period. I remember it was a beast on me. I could spray it on once and it would get me through the entire day. I remember I went to a concert one time, and after the concert, we went, because this band was known for, like, after the concert, they would stand back by their tour bus and they would, like, meet fans or whatever. And my best friend and I went back there and we met them. And I remember I think he was the drummer of the band, gave me a hug and told me I smelled really good. And this is what I was wearing, because this was my signature back then. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful fragrance. So anyways, that one is called Falling in Love. I love it. Okay, next we have a really affordable fragrance. This is from a house called Korloff Paris. And this one is called Miss Korloff. And this is so good. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Victoria's Secret Love Spell. But it doesn't have that sickly sweetness that Love Spell has. Now, mind you, I think Love Spell has been reformulated. I am going off of the Love Spell from 2000, the year 2000, I think is when it was released, either 1999 or 2000. And a girl I worked with, that's all she wore was, well, it's not all she wore, but she went through a Love Spell phase when it first came out. I think we all did. And it just got to the point where it was sickening to me. A lot of people now, though, say that they really love Love Spell, and I'm wondering if it hasn't been reformulated a little bit to not be so I don't know. So I need to get my nose on like the new version. But anyways, this reminds me a little bit of Love Spelled, but this is a lot brighter and lighter. Yeah, this has got a really beautiful creaminess to it. This is another one that it's a lot of florals. It's Lily of the Valley and Ylang Ylang, and yeah, just some really beautiful florals, but it's also got a rhubarb note in the middle. And it's got vanilla in the base. So it's kind of like this creamy vanilla and rhubarb with some light florals in it that really, I don't know, it really doesn't read as a floral. It's really beautiful and quite unique. And yes, I do think it smells a touch like Love Spell, but I don't know. It's much fresher and much better smelling to me than Love Spell, in my opinion. It's really, really beautiful. It's an underrated gem. It's a very affordable fragrance as well. And I really, really love it. It's funny because every time I go through my collection to do a declutter, I will look at this and I'll be like, do I really need you? And then I'll try to declutter it, but then I always take it out. It never makes it through a declutter because there's just something about it that I love. It's beautiful. I guess it's just that creamy rhubarb that I really love. It's just beautiful. So anyways, it's very youthful smelling as well, but without smelling juvenile, if that makes any sense. It's fun. It's a fun fragrance. So anyways, that is Miss Korloff from Korloff. Really beautiful. This next one is one that I'm very excited to wear in the spring. I wore this in the dead of the cold this year because I bought it in the middle of the winter and I loved it. And I knew then it was going to be amazing in the heat as well. This is Pitbull, just Pitbull for her. And this is a beautiful, kind of slightly musky, a little bit sweet, clean floral. This is another one that's got apple in it. It's funny. It's like a lot of these fragrances that I pulled have apple in them, which I love. I love apple, especially if it's done well. But this one is really beautiful. It's not like overly sweet. It's not really fruity smelling. It's got apple, but it's got some florals in the middle. It's kind of fresh, slightly sweet. Maybe just a touch musky. It's got vanilla in the base as well. It's just beautiful. It reminds me a little bit of Justin Bieber The Key, but it's not quite as shampoo. It's not shampoo-y smelling at all, really. It's clean without being shampoo-y. It's just beautiful. It's another one that I feel like is such an underrated gem. This is one that I got a compliment on. The one time I wore it, I got a compliment on this one as well. And it was funny because it was one of the situations where she was like, "What are you wearing?" And I was like, "Pitbull," which is weird, but it's really, really good. So anyways, that is Pitbull for her. Just such a good one. This next one, this is my favorite time of year to wear this fragrance. Even though this works best on me in the cold weather, it performs the best in cold weather, but I love wearing this in spring. It's just my favorite in the springtime. This is Pure Poison from Christian Dior, and I do have an original formulation bottle, which the way you tell is the original formulation has the purple around the neck and a white lid. The new formulation, I think, has either white or gold around the neck and a purple lid, I believe. So that's how you tell the difference. I love this. This is such a beautiful, sweet, fresh, clean, white floral. It's a poison. I mean, for being a fresh, light version of poison, it's still got a heaviness to it that I love. It's not overly sweet. So this one is a lot of white flowers, jasmine, gardenia, orange blossom, but none of them are super distinct. It doesn't smell like, oh, that's a jasmine perfume, or oh, that's an orange blossom. It's just this really beautiful, like, blend of soft white florals. It's not overly sweet. It's not like a super clean smelling fragrance. I don't know. This one's hard to explain because I've never smelled anything that smells quite like it before. It's a super cozy fragrance for me, and it lasts forever in the cold weather, but in the heat, it doesn't perform great on me in the heat, but this is my favorite time of year to wear it. So anyways, that is Pure Poison from Dior. I'm super excited to give that some love. Okay, next, this is spring in a bottle to me. This is like quintessentially spring. This is like Ralph Lauren Blue as far as this is a spring perfume. It's summer too, but it smells like spring. This is Un Jardin sur le Toit from Hermes, and oh my gosh, this is so gorgeous. This is rose and basil and grass. It's citrusy and tart. Rose is the most prominent note in it, but it doesn't smell like any other rose you've smelled, because there's something about how the rose and the basil mingle together, and then like a fresh grass note. There's something about those three notes that together kind of transform the rose. It's very, very fresh, very crisp, slightly sweet. You get a blast of citrus in the beginning, but it really does dry down to this beautiful, fresh, crisp, green rose fragrance. And the basil isn't like, I don't know, it's not overly basil-y, if that makes any sense. Like, you're not gonna walk around smelling like fresh basil. There's just something about how this one is blended. It's so beautiful and fresh, and it just smells like spring. So anyways, that is Un Jardin sur le Toit from Hermes, spring in a bottle to me. This next one, this is another one that every time it starts to get warm out, I gravitate towards this fragrance because I love it so much. This is Britney Spears Private Show VIP, or VIP Private Show, I should say. And I love this. This one is still easy to find. Private Show is not easy to find anymore. I think it's gotten so popular that it's just difficult to find. Oh my gosh, VIP Private Show is so good. This is another one. Oh my gosh, this one smells like creamy candy. And what do you know? This is another one that is, it's apple, but this is mango and apple. I think this one's got raspberry in it, if I remember correctly. What I love about this one is it's got violet, and you get the violet, but it doesn't smell like a candied, like a typical candied violet fragrance, like a lot of violet fragrances do. But it brings a beautiful kind of powdered candied quality, and it keeps it from being over the top sweet. It does smell like a creamy candy, but it's not sickening. It's not like, it's definitely sweet, don't get me wrong, very, very sweet, but not sickening, not saccharine sweet. Because that violet in the middle really keeps it in check. It's got like musk and amber in the base, but I don't really get those. I mostly just get the fruits in the top and the beautiful violet in the middle. I love this fragrance. It's so freaking good. This is one of those, I picked this up at TJ Maxx. It was a blind buy. I didn't know what to expect. This was before I realized just how good Britney Spears fragrances are. She might be my favorite celebrity fragrance maker. I just feel like Britney Spears fragrances are so stinking good. Like, so good. And this one is no exception. It smells like a celebrity fragrance, but it kind of doesn't too. There's something so good about this. This one performs pretty darn well too. I can easily get 4 or 5 hours out of this before I would feel like I need to reapply, and it lasts forever on clothing. It performs well any time of year, but this is my favorite time of year for this, and I think just because I'll look at it in the wintertime, but I just gravitate towards the original Private Show in the wintertime. Even though I will wear Private Show literally all year, I do wear it all year. This is one though that I usually wait until it starts to get warmer out for some reason, even though it's amazing anytime. But I love this one. This is one that you can still get too. And it's so good. So that is VIP Private Show from Britney Spears. It's amazing. This next one, this is one that I had completely forgotten about, and I just saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to wear that again. It's such a good one. This is Musk 04 from Zara, and I love this. This is supposed to be kind of like a gourmand musk, and it really is. It's just like creamy. You almost get a chocolate vibe from it. Like you almost get a light milk chocolatey vibe from it. It just smells like sweet, creamy, clean musk. It's so darned good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love it. Sweet, gourmand leaning, but clean musk. It's really, really good. This is one that I would definitely recommend. Yeah, it's a really, really nice one. So anyways, that is Musk 004 from Zara. I don't know if that one's even still available, but I think it is. But they're always sold out. Of like all the best ones are always sold out, and it can be difficult to get some of those Zara fragrances. Like I've been waiting for Golden Decade to come back into stock for months and months. Okay, and last but not least, this has been long because I've been gushing about these perfumes, but last but not least is an Issey Miyake fragrance. This is Please Please, the Eau de Toilette formulation. I'm sorry, this is Issey Miyake Please Please Low. Oh gosh. And this is a super bright, crisp, slightly sweet rose fragrance, but it's a different kind of rose. It's also got a very, very light patchouli note in the base, but it's not like, it's one of those that you can kind of smell. You kind of get the spiciness from the patchouli, but that's about it. Almost a little bit of it's kind of like a very light medicinal patchouli that has been masked. It's beautiful. It's got rose both in the top and in the middle. I think it's got neroli or orange blossom in the middle as well. And then maybe musk and definitely patchouli. But it's really beautiful. It's a rose, but without being like super rose forward. It ends up just smelling very, very clean, crisp, fresh, with like a masked medicinal patchouli in the base. It doesn't smell too much like patchouli at all. It's really, really beautiful. I love this one. This is one that I need to give a really good wear test to and see if it needs to stay in my collection, because I've got a couple other fragrances that smell like this, and of the three that I feel like are similar, which is Lalique, Kenzo Flower, Eau de Lumiere, and this one, all three of them they kind of remind me of each other, and it's like I don't need all three of them in my collection, but I would never get rid of Lalique, and I don't think I would get rid of Kenzo Flower Lumiere, so this is the one that's kind of on the chopping block. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I'll be able to do it or not, but it really is a beauty. Even the color of the liquid it just screams spring. And it's beautiful. It smells much better on skin than it does on paper too. It's just a beauty. Really gorgeous, bright spring rose fragrance. So anyways, that is Issey Miyake Please Please Low. Woo! And that is going to be it, guys. That is another group of fragrances that I am super excited to wear this spring. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!